Living accommodation for some of the region's troops has today been branded a disgrace by a committee of MPs. Their comments were directed at living quarters for the Royal Anglian Regiment, currently on active service in Afghanistan. Ministers have promised to act.
They recruit from this region, but this is where the Royal Anglians are currently based, at Pirbright in Surrey. From the outside, it doesn't look too bad, but some of those who've lived within tell stories of cramped conditions and dilapidated buildings.
There's obviously floods sort of quite often that wouldn't get repaired for days. There was one incident of the whole of the bottom floor flooding and the soldiers there having to move upstairs. There was before double glazing come in, people would go to open windows and windows would fall out. Just pretty much too many blokes crammed into too little space, really. Soldiers being soldiers, you're quite aggressive and stuff like that, so the littlest thing can spark off big arguments, and there's just no space. You're 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on top of each other.
There have been a string of complaints about the standard of army accommodation, not just at Pirbright but at a number of bases. A committee of MPs decided to investigate. They say what they found at Pirbright was disgraceful. They concluded that those who are currently on deployment in Afghanistan had more comfortable accommodation than those left behind.
Our servicemen and women are living in accommodation that we wouldn't put anybody else into, and we really oughtn't to be putting people who lay their lives on the line for their country into accommodation like some of the stuff that we've seen.
In fact, millions of pounds has been spent on improving accommodation. These new barracks opened in Colchester last year. Ministers say they're dealing with a long-standing problem.
In the 60s, 70s, 80s, we allowed it to fall into disrepair. The problem is being tackled, but it isn't going to be tackled overnight.
The Anglians are due back from Afghanistan next month. Their quarters have been repainted, but full refurbishment is still some time off. Andrew Sinclair, BBC Look East.